What is up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? We are live on the DST show. I'm going to broadcast SmackDown. I have to get some extra stuff out the way before we premiere. Just like SmackDown is, Wrestlepalooza is just under 24 hours away. So is AEW All Out on pay-per-view, or PLE, if you want to be a jerk about it. How's everybody doing this Friday night delight? Welcome to the DST show, and I just dropped my fucking blood. What's popping? I will get the invite sorted. If anybody's welcome to join, welcome to the chat. What's going on? Brock Lesnar's opening the show. Still in this. It's D-Day tomorrow, John. Brock, he didn't fuck Sable. What's good with you? Did he? Who did he beat? Adam Pearce? Just some security guy. You know what's the craziest part about this? People are still probably going to watch the match. That's the crazy part here. I will put the invite over on the list. Thank you guys for the love over on the shorts. I think I'm near to 800. Brock Lesnar's dismantling still, going absolutely batshit after knocking out one executive. And yet Brock has just scattered everybody around security. And he's going to F5 the poor bastard. There it is. Brock Lesnar with the absolute brutal F5. You sick. I'd rather they just put a beep. It's more entertaining on a television show when you bleep out a cuss word. Am I wrong or am I right? I might be wrong. But it is always funny, guys. I grew up with Adult Swim, so I've heard a lot more bleeps. Brock is going full. Oh, God. Brock. And he grabs his fucking 10-gallon hat. Ron Cena. Who brought a John Cena Asian joke in Big 2025? I thought we got over that whole misconception over his geographic failure. Oh, it's King. It's what's a good pun to use for Abu Dhabi, Cena? Because of course we got Saudi Arabia and WrestleMania is going to be in Riyadh, folks. WrestleMania is going to be in fucking Riyadh. All the things I wish for all this time, bro. You know how bad it is over on TKO when people are now giving graces to Vince McMahon over all his setbacks, his backstage quarrels, he has around the back, what he's done to bastardize and monopolize over the wrestling business. And yet people are saying that he's made TKO has been so bad that they make Vince McMahon look like he's Rob Van Dam. Jeff Hardy in '08, bro. It's insane. What happens when you think there's anybody worse? And there is. That's a sad pill to swallow for most. WWE star Becky Lynch is a vocal supporter of Palestine, donated $35,000 to families need in need of Gaza, sponsored 3 refugee camps in Gaza, wore the colors of Palestine on TV. All right, man. And then Carmelo Hayes, being a mark, puts up the U.S. pinner belt that he had back in '04. Y'all missed that championship? Y'all just acting like frauds? Oh, did I forget to get the gunshots? Do we have the gunshots, or do we have the... Let me get the gunshots. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk for that. My apologies. I did hear what happened with Jimmy Kimmel. I heard he's podcasting after that whole thing went down, PR fiasco involving close friends of the president. At least he still has a platform to voice over his opinion. The only thing is he doesn't have a televised network to change his PR unless he goes to kick streaming. Don't blame him if he does. I'll be shocked if anybody wants an authentic version of Jimmy Kimmel of his own platform. And we just open with Brock Lesnar getting berserk, equivalent to like Batista back in 2019. Give me what I want. Give me what I want. Like out of nowhere. Still under commercial break. We're still getting aftermath after Brock Lesnar's rampage. Michael Cole with executives and referees and officials checking over. We're back here on Friday Night SmackDown. And look at this. Michael Cole. Michael Cole getting carried like a rescuee by Brock Lesnar. Feeling like it's going to be a world of hurt. Nick, why is this man getting carried around the ring? Oh, wait. Is that Vic Joseph? Is that the guy who came to save him? Or that was Corey Graves? That can't even keep his wife a job. Oh, that was Corey Graves? I can see the hand tats. That's Corey Graves. Please cart him off of TV, then give him an unsubtle release note back on Twitter. I know that's going to happen. And he F5's Corey Graves. He's going to dick you down, John. That's what D-Day means to Brock Lesnar. Tori Wilson at WWE back in 2003. Oh, folks. I'm not trying to get demonetized. I'm starting the stream early. Ooh, some of my shit's on X. Brock Lesnar's backstage, talking over with Paul Heyman. Saying we should talk to Paul Heyman in front of the Vision. Badass Braun Breaker. Can you get the audio guys to minus down on the security? I can still hear the walkie-talkie speaking over him. And bro, you know how unover the women's division now is to have the contract signing to be backstage? How disrespectful is that? That's a fucking lie. No one says Nick Aldis is the greatest GM of all time. He's barely the greatest NWA champion of all time. While Paul Heyman and Michael Cole has to probably carry the show without a partner with him in the commentary booth. Joey Styles style. If y'all know, y'all know. It's not like Pat McAfee's going to pull up out of nowhere, even though they're in Indianapolis. Well, Corey Graves is obviously not going to be carrying over the show in a local medical facility because we can't say fucking hospital. Hide and right clapped your cheeks. Don't forget that, Michael. Don't forget that, Michael. And Charlotte Flair. Mm, that. The court. The fuck? Oh, hell, the queen. Sorry, folks. I'm trying to get. Yeah. Fuck is going on with Restream? Can y'all still hear me if anybody's still. Hold on. Apologies for the technical difficulties. I was trying to get two tabs separate against on the browser, and that didn't seem to go well. If any of you guys can still hear me, I sincerely apologize. I should have got this managed before we started the stream. Oh, hail the queen. And now USA is going to like take a whole last minute. All right. We should be good now. Chelsea Green, women's tag titles are on the line. Chelsea Green and Alba Fire versus Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss. Sorry. Two random blondes. Oh, and a high knee. Oh, and a rolling senton to start up, and look at this, instigating immediately shoulder tackle of Becky Lynch. I'm making no Charlotte Flair. Rolling senton, Michael Cole, United States Championship. Carmelo Hayes finally gets a shot. I was really gonna call Triple H a racist. Oh, face first over the ring post. Oh hell no! And we're already getting holiday, bro. We literally have 2 days. Corporations really got to know patience, and and like if you guys ever work retail, there's certain specific opportunity, certain specific retailing manufacturers that are really pulling their holiday products in stock around before September. So I was already seeing Christmas trees and stuff in my job. So don't be surprised if you see a PS5 before you clock into work. I'm just saying. Could be time to get one. PlayStation 4, PlayStation Plus ain't playing, but y'all still stuck with your PS4. You're wishing for PlayStation 5 games. Time to actually use that money instead of OnlyFans. Get yourself a PlayStation 5. You won't regret it. You don't need to hear your PlayStation talk to you when you're playing Tomato Town in Big 2025. Y'all need to get a job. Respectfully, of course. Any anticipation also for Wrestlepalooza? You guys more anticipating for All Out? Feel you think it's a sleeper card? What are we sleeping on for the PLE? You think there's any Do you think it's still necessary for picture in picture when we know that they're practically knowing it's probably like a sluggish version knowing they're in commercial break anyway because they do cue the wrestlers when they're pulling over in commercial break. So that's just weird to me. It's not like you're seeing any highlighted action beforehand. Right now, all we're seeing is just Chelsea Green's now with the momentum. Plus, they'll just replay it for you. Rajah Jackson did get officially arrested. It was finally time for the guy to get his comeuppance. I feel like it was about time. Rajah Jackson has to learn that actions with your lack of patience won't be tolerated. If you were getting worked, you didn't know you were getting worked. Then your pride was too much because of what was going on in your live chat, and your dad peer pressuring you to beat the shit out of a guy. You beat this guy over the inch of his life out of nothing but your own selfishness. I just can't tolerate stuff like that. I don't. I don't give a fuck what type of trauma you're into, folks. Nothing justifies a man getting beaten for an inch of his life, in my personal opinion. Oh, you know what? Right now, Chelsea Green getting the jump on Alexa Bliss, knowing the size comparison. Just done finally with it being picture in picture. Y'all watch NXT Homecoming? I heard Dynamite also pulled a decent number before the go home show. Waiting for that hot tag. Fans are hot for it. Alexa Bliss, but Alba Fire comes over to cut off the hot tag. And there it is. Charlotte Flair. Two clotheslines. And a chop while Alba Fire wearing just some dress clothes. Charlotte Flair with the worst chops I've ever seen. Hits another chop over on Chelsea Green. Fire a hand, a front flip into a clothesline. Exploder suplex by Charlotte Flair with the kip up. I don't know how it looks unathletic and athletic at the same time, chat. You tell me, because this is sad. Like the most lackadaisical. This looks so lackadaisical, and this is a hot tag, by the way, by Charlotte Flair. Going for an immediate schoolboy, no good. Roll up couldn't get the pin. Into a super kick that looked like it didn't even connect. And the backbreaker into an STO into the turnbuckle. Seriously, there's something quality control wrong with this. It shouldn't be. Chelsea Green trying to interrupt, planning Charlotte Flair on the turnbuckle to cut off her momentum, and a super kick caught by Alba Fire. Hits Chelsea Green with the tag, getting her out the way. Chelsea Green with the knee strike into the senton by Alba Fire. That's a legal woman. 2. Alexa Bliss. Why would she roll over not knowing? Young Hoku, what happened? Did he get traded? Thank you for losing. And Charlotte Flair gets the win back. Well, the chemistry is still there, and they just swap title belts because they're side plates. I'd rather put nameplates in, preferably. I don't mind the personalization of your belt. I just like the legacy version of it, where it looks like more traditional. And the lack of cooperation between the Street Profits, and here's a backstage segment with BFAB and Ford and Angelo Dawkins. Do people really fuck with Meacham like that, by the way, on the roster? He's gonna say fam, isn't he? Are they gonna fumble this like they did Shad Gaspard and JTG's breakup back in 2010? If y'all know, y'all know. Oh no, go Dallas. Trying to instigate a breakup between Dawkins of Ford. I'm hard right now. Bo Dallas, oh no. uh, and immediately jumping. Eric Rowan jumping the Street Profits. Yeah, 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 yeah. Do it! You, y'all watching Collision this Saturday? Me either. Why did I ask that question? I don't know. I just want to know if any of you guys just don't have jobs or available single moms. Please answer the one or two. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. If we brought back Lucha Underground, I swear Dominic and Mysterio would be like the biggest heel on the roster. I forgot Asuka has that new centipede tattoo on her face. Please don't say that shit permanent, bro. Too much of a beautiful woman to have that like as a legitimate style, or that's just some face paint design that she had temporarily. By Vince Russo. Worst thing about watching WWE Smackdown is when you start watching the show 45 minutes in at 4 times speed because there is nothing to see here. But then you catch up and you have to watch the next 45 minutes in real time. And you can't 4 times speed through it. Yeah, that sucks. Oh my god. The burials is crazy. How to maximize your sports betting profits. Yeah, I'd rather not. Oh, y'all heard what Patrick Beverly said involving Trey Young, saying he doesn't have like the right to speak to him like that, trying to discredit his career. Even though Trey Young has been more impactful on an NBA team over the past 7 years than Patrick Beverly been on like 7 different teams in the last 8 years, like, just tell me, guys, because this new medium of having the athletes have their own echo chambers is gonna go like backfiring with the gun, shooting them instead of the actual bunny Daffy Duck style. Because no way you're gonna tell Patrick Beverly he has no credibility to talk about being a successful player, comparing his his constant All Star appearances, being the focal point of an offense, and then accusably calling him a coach killer and a cancer in the locker room. And then Trey Young said something that he would say to any other media presence because he didn't, respect him as a player, and said, "Who is your source? Who is your source?" That's an obvious note right there. Pushing over this echo chamber, you're discrediting a guy like Trey Young when you got to tell your family, yeah, nobody else in the NBA wants me, So I'm gonna go to Israel for a second. What you got to tell your family that? Multi-million-dollar veteran minimum deal over in the NBA, and you make a max deal of 100K a year in fucking Israel to play basketball because you got to hoop because you have no other skills in your life, Pat Bev. You got to shut the fuck up. Shut up. It's safer that way. I'm being serious. It's safer that way, Pat. We're back here alive. You know, I really thought Pat McAfee was going to push over as a cameo due to Corey Graves being out and going to be in Indianapolis. That'd be a decent pop to push over, knowing Michael Cole's going to botch most of his calls all night without any cover. And then we get our shameless ESPN ad with R-Truth being the poster boy. Because of the recent ESPN deal with Angel Garza and Umberto. They're still a tag team. How long have they been a tag team? Since 2021? Just the highest bidder is WWE property with a lack of rights. I didn't even know there was like videos over in WWE involved on ESPN.com. They even took out the stuff for AEW. And a shameless QR code to plug over the product. Interesting. And if y'all are really trying to push $30 a month for a 3 hour PLE with four matches on the card for 20 minutes each, with the bare minimum of a lukewarm feeling, just know Triple H can't book respectfully, and you're terrible with your money. Just say it. Oh my god. Why are you plugging this to the guys that are in the company? You're blatantly telling me that Garza and Umberto are not going to be on the PLE. That is such a burial of these. Sorry. But you can't tell me that that isn't a burial, folks. That is such a burial of these wrestlers. Fraxium or just Paul London and Brian Kendrick with a mask. Is there no tag division on the NXT that I'm aware of? Tell me. Oh, look at this. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are jumping Fraxium. What's going on? Gentlemen, name is Paul Heyman. Yeet. 4 letters, one word. Uh-uh. You're not invited in the cookout. I don't give a fuck if you know Roman Reigns. Culturally appropriated Uso over here. And little Fraxium not taking this jump for granted. Double missile dropkick. I think Nathan Frazier missed. And two suicide dives on both Reed and Breaker. And another one over from Axiom and one from Frazier to Breaker. And niggas are just politely applauding. Niggas are just politely applauding. Nick Aldis is going to initiate a tag team match out of nowhere anyway. See, right now, boring ass fucking GM, bro. Nick Aldis, respectfully outstanding professional wrestler. I've watched him since his time on TNA. And then we're gonna transition immediately to commercial break. It's like, you know what? You started it, you're gonna end it tonight in a tag team match right now, hitting the commercial break. Nigga, we ain't scared. Oh, Fraxium. Did you really have to blindside Fraxium? They didn't even win the tag titles, and they've been on the main roster for a calendar year, bro. Miz and Carmelo Hayes is more threatening of a tag team than Fraxium. How irrelevant is the tag division over in NXT to be this minuscule of talent? I'm sure they're talented wrestlers. That doesn't mean that they're over, bro. Came from Street Profits, DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, fucking Fraxium. Be for real, guys. I'm looking for honesty here. Please. Like, be honest with me. Kids want Fraxium action figures. Please. Don't do this to me. Well, Miami Dolphins are fraudulent this year. Kansas City Chiefs have been incredibly fraudulent. I'm so happy. I'm sure anybody that's not a Taylor Swift or a Chiefs fan is happy to see that the Chiefs are injury riddled, not carried by all-pro receiving talent, aging stars with a lackluster defense and getting exposed for the inauthentic offense they have. Even though Mahomes is probably the only primary threat on offense, but otherwise, like, not much of a major threat over guys like Burrow, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, or even Dak Prescott. And I know people that don't even put Dak Prescott in the top 5 quarterback conversation because they don't even watch football like that. I'm just keeping it a buck. Mahomes' statistical worst season in the NFL, you guys still got him top 5. Objectively, on paper, yes, Mahomes one of the best quarterbacks right now. But out of 2024-25 season, absolutely not. And don't you dare put fucking CJ Stroud in that conversation. He is too frantic and inconsistent. Trevor Lawrence is not there either. It's either Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. If you want to put Jordan Love as a consensus wild card, because he's done some great recent success for the Green Bay Packers, to put them back in the conversation. And they'll probably be a top 10 defense in the NFL, knowing Michael Parsons is going to really change that pass rush. They already made the Commanders look minuscule. Y'all got to stop putting these quarterbacks in these conversations because of one good rookie year. Y'all did the same thing for CJ Stroud, like y'all doing for that quarterback over in Washington. And now it's Braun Breaker and the division versus Fraxium to start off the match after an immediate jump. With Paul Heyman laying down on the commentary table, knowing that there's already going to be pressure. He doesn't know it's a gimmick table, folks. Don't stop, get it, yeah. Don't stop, get it, yeah. Monday special starting time around 7 p.m. Eastern. This probably might be the regular start time for the time being. And Braun Breaker went around the ropes 4 times until he hits that lariat with momentum. Holding him up. Breaker tags in Reed. So who's on commentary now with Michael Cole? Vic Joseph, it sounds like. Fucking sounds like Matt Striker. Without the cussing when it comes to a special moment. Because Matt Striker sounds like he has Tourette's in certain segments. You guys probably seen it if you ever watched Lucha Underground. Will Ospreay has undergone a successful neck surgery and he's now on the road to recovery. Well, good for him that he's healthy, but hopefully his high-risk maneuvers are over down a minuscule, knowing he's in his 30s, right? Like, he needs to push that down a minimum if he wants to continue an extensive career in pro wrestling. That's just my personal opinion. And he tags in, axe handle. Forearm smashes all over Nathan Frazier into a Samoan drop. Breaks him up. Frazier going high risk. Puts his neck onto the top rope. Springboard into a missile drop kick by Frazier. Got Bronson Reed on one knee. Goes for a super kick. High speed momentum straight from Frazier. Can end this with one. The fuck type of geriatric frog splash was that? Kick attitude. Going high risk again. Going for a moonsault from the top. Phoenix splash into a pop-up Samoan. Oh, Death Valley driver straight from Bronson Reed. Going for a tsunami, but Axiom out of nowhere. And he shoves him off for a spear. Run breaker cuts off the momentum. Tsunami straight from Breed. 2, 3, and thank God this match was like what, one commercial break short, and that was just off the beginning of the show. Thank God. Fraxium should not be a threat for the top heel group on the roster, apparently. And Paul Heyman is going to gentlemen. Oh, and look at the Usos. They were all the way in Indianapolis by Nick Aldis. Oh. Yeah, Us. Oh, God. Yay. Yeah. To the Uso Penitentiary. Yo, I swear to God, Jey Uso needs to rehearse, bro. Jey Uso needs to rehearse. And thank you guys for 1,000 views over on one of the shorts. Thank you guys. Jey Uso needs to fucking rehearse his segmented promos. You know, you can rehearse without being on camera, right? All due respect to Jey Uso. Nia Jax is here in the building. Damn, I forgot Cody Rhodes is still the WWE champion. I'm not even trying to bury. Anybody acknowledge him still being the champion? Nigga's not even on the show, is he? The world champion, he's the afterthought on PLE since SummerSlam. This Cody even has a feud recollecting, and this guy got jumped by Brock Lesnar. Triple H don't give a shit about you, Cody. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. It's obvious that you were just an afterthought. Did brand split really be showing guys like who's really the threat here? And it's not you. You'll never be the threat. You'll never be anybody that's actually going to be a star in Triple H's eyes. We are on PLE number 3, and yet you are still not booked as a headliner. We've got the Usos coming back. Brock Lesnar versus John Cena is headlining. And AJ Lee returned on Raw. And that's cutting in segments that are getting millions of views. What are you doing? Just being a pseudo paper champion. How are you not going to the booking team for this? How are you not going to the writing team? Gorilla? Nothing to say? Crazy ass work. Crazy ass work. This is obviously a display that Triple H got. Nobody he considers to be a legitimate guy on the roster. Am I seeing lies? Where's the lies? Yo, fuck Bobby Fish for that. That was hilarious when he said that. Telling you folks, I had an awful neck pain I had from last weekend. I was up in the park playing ball a bit with some people, and just out of nowhere, I don't know what awkward movement I made, or it's because I just didn't stretch. I swear, I hate getting older, bro. I'm not even old. Mid-20s, kids will treat you like it's midlife crisis. Yeah, my childhood was 20 years ago. What? And yet, I gotta stretch when playing fucking soccer? I gotta. Mind you, guys, please stretch. Y'all doing any type of outside activities, nocturnal activities, external activities. I know who my audience is. I know most of y'all are lonely. It's okay. Me too. But other than that, please, you guys are doing anything, working out, work, training. It's fine to stretch. It's boring, but it helps. Loosens up your body to make sure you get ready for any other anything that's going to push you out of your comfort zone, especially when your body's not prepared for it. So please take care of yourself. So that Jax is the last person we've seen before commercial break. Hopefully she gets a segment, tear shit up. Because Nia Jax, since her release, and I know I've been a heavy critique on Nia Jax as a wrestler from like back in the pandemic era when she was like being an unsafe worker, getting heat backstage, and what for like her plus size, controversy she was having over on social media. She's kind of would you guys say that she's kind of rebuilt herself in her career? I would say so, and she actually has a finisher that still looks good. Her own interpretation of the bonsai drop. Giants versus Kansas City Chiefs. How the Giants can come from having a great game like they did against the Dallas Cowboys to have a stinker from their opening week against the Commanders because their lack of defense and injury-deprived Chiefs team with a lack of offensive options. This could end the Giants' loss, but this could be a morale killer for the Chiefs if they pull up an upset. We have WWE Countdown 7 Eastern, 5 Eastern. We'll have a 7 p.m. start time. I think All Out will start at 8 p.m. And Jey Uso, and they're doing like a media run with the Usos reuniting because Jey Uso singles run was absolute gank. Rumble winner, and you're back with your brother. I swear Triple H can't book world champions to save his life. I swear to God. Do we still rate Triple H as a booker? Oh, aren't you and Seth Rollins Chicago Bears fans? Because even though, like, I think Seth Rollins from Idaho or Iowa, and yet he's a representative of the Chicago Bears. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Hot take incoming in just a couple seconds. I'm gonna say something that's not gonna sound very nice, but I'm sure you guys are used to it by now. Because I don't give a shit. I don't care if you guys can tolerate every segment in a wrestling show and still call it okay, yet you guys don't rewatch segments. And then you guys want to complain about the rating system, even though YouTube wise or social media wise, it's not getting as much attention you guys think. WWE just has an outstanding media team that can promote everything. They fumbled the AJ Lee CM Punk versus Becky Lynch Seth Rollins scenes. This should have been personal and built up 2 months ago. AJ Lee got a wild pop, and yet that didn't even get the numbers around a plus 100,000. And yet we're gonna get McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes. We could have had segments of them interrupting their daily lives, media runs involving AJ Lee return to the company after a decade, matches, a return match for AJ Lee, a once in a lifetime return match on Monday Night Raw, involving AJ Lee versus any like current star of the women's division. Put her in the title scene for Becky Lynch to ruin her chances. Have dinner date. Bro, I remember I was talking with my brother. A dinner date segment involving Becky Lynch and Seth, and it gets interrupted by another dinner date involving Punk and AJ Lee. They don't look like an authentic couple. Y'all just having them just segment because they are married and they hate each other. And then they just hate, and then the wives now got to hate each other over pseudo association. After getting demasculated, it never feels authentic. That's just me though. I'm just complaining. You guys are not really watching the product. I see the numbers. Y'all don't really watch it. And there's the bonsai drop off. Oh, on Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax. Cheek planting. I know some guys that are chubby chasers that really want that to happen to them, by the way. Weirdos. I'm not like most girls. Clankers. Oh, sorry. Guys. Toledo is God's land. No, isn't that Texas? Oh. My hole. My hole. I still feel like Jade Cargill should have been women's champion. She should have gotten to a feud with Nia Jax. I swear, he's going to be tearing the house down. Jade Cargill, we'd have the whole thing built up of her giving a power slam. We could book her as the dominant face of the women's division, like we could have done with Awesome Kong back in 2011. I'd be black. Look at the glazing going on with Nia Jax. She'd rather be black than Samoan in the wrestling business. What? 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 You never. It never sounds like Nia Jax needs a voice coach, bro. Huh? Any Tiffy time? It's Tiffy time. And the women's champion is still here. Tiffany, are you sure a person wears a brassiere with trunks and high platform boots? It's Tiffy time. Women's champion. I'm shocked Tiffany shot him. She never, and she drops the mic. And she's coming in, and security holding up. You're protecting Tiffany from Nia Jax. This is the sad part here. Security trying to hold her over the women's champion. Knowing there's action to be made by Jade Cargill is here. The storm is coming. Oh, and damn. I swear, like, Jade Cargill's would happen if Jacqueline and Jazz, like, were combined and had a distinct look. And here comes Nick Aldis with his bland ass. It's going to be You Hate Tiffany. You Hate Tiffany. Women's title match at Wrestlepalooza. Clap, 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 clap. Another great call. We love our guy. We love our general manager, Nick Aldis. That's my wigger. That's my wigger. Oh, it's official. Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Jade Cargill at WrestlePalooza. In another shameless plug for ESPN for WWE. You guys are not on the card. You guys are not on the card. Dragon Lee, Motor City Machine Guns, you niggas are not on the card. Tell them they're not on the card. R-Truth, there's no shot you're okay with doing these. Omen, isn't he feuding with Aleister Black still? I don't have cable, so I use ESPN Plus. Yeet. Downloading your toaster. Remember when we took R-Truth seriously for a moment over his heel turn after John Cena beat him up at Backlash? Then this nigga's back to being a comedic gimmick. Just to shamelessly plug over ESPN, bro. Did he put his phone in the toaster? And here comes the United States Championship match, one of the highly promoted parts of the show. Other than just segments, is just promote. We're just gonna rush over the PLE because I don't know how to book a show. Here comes Carmelo Hayes, one half of Awesome. There's gonna be a hell of a match between Sami Zayn and Carmelo Hayes. But if they fumble the bag and not drop the title, and here comes one of the guest commentaries, one half of the tag team, The Miz to show his moral support. Even though I bet he's going to cost him the United States Championship. I'm sure Miz isn't trying to transition over to his commentary job when he can't wrestle anymore. I feel like that's a perfect job for him. That or a manager. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm on my Miz glaze. He's not as bad as I've given him credit for over the past 10 years. I'm sure a lot of anti-smart crowd have absolutely hated The Miz over his lack of presence, but knowing he can talk, he's been exceptionally consistent over the past 15 plus years, memorable matches and segments, has been a world champion before. WrestleMania is back in Vegas, baby. The fuck? Again? Y'all ready for another? We are WW. Where are you guys going? My fucking pension's on nosebleeds, bro. Oh my god. You guys really wasting this stupid on some overpriced bum buff. Like, Jesus Christ, guys. I'm being serious. Should I censor Christ? Yeah, yeah, and we saw 70K freaking tickets. We saw 70K tickets from all the things. Like, how many of you guys really are missing to watch a PLE to waste what would be a state college tuition for a semester for Dragon Lee for a main event Jey Uso, even though he starts kickoff for El Grande Amera Kondo? Like, shut up. Y'all broke. Y'all still have those musty Bullet Club shirts from Big 2020, 2016. Being a wrestling fan really be like making me feel discriminate. I'm being serious. Because sometimes I feel like it's time to gatekeep. Maybe it's time to bring back Vince. Hell, it was transactional, wasn't it? that yeah, that guy's innocent. He's innocent, folks. He's innocent. Brother's innocent. Because I have to see Triple H do this show anymore, bro. Because everybody brags over Tony Khan being a terrible booker. Who said Triple H was any different? When any of the big storylines actually executed properly? And now we get a my fault for messing up Cena's heel run. Guess what? Here's a match with Brock Lesnar in it. Because, god damn it. Ugh. U.S. title match against Carmelo Hayes and Sami Zayn is next because Sami Zayn really needed to pull loopholes for brand splits to excuse his irrelevant career in the wrestling business. Forget this guy, bro. Sami Zayn was that beloved he would have been managed for a world title back in 2017. What do you think was the best year for Sami Zayn to be pushed around? The time he was over in the Bloodline where he could be relevant, or outside of the Bloodline where he would still be having these 6 out of 10 feuds with Kevin Owens, farting up the place with boring segments nobody watches? Be honest with me. Be honest with me. Is Sami Zayn really worth your TV time? We did the same thing over with Kofi Mania and see where that got Kofi. Back in the mid card, where he belongs, respectfully. At least he got something to tell the kids. He was WWE champion. Not really that bad of the gig. It's either that or go back and watch the Him movie that I heard stunk up the place. We're back next Friday, Orlando, Florida. Finally, somewhere where you get civilization. Next week, not on Wrestlepalooza because these women aren't worth it. Tiffany Stratton will either drop the title to Nia Jax or Jade Cargill. And I guess the final segment is going to be like Cody Rhodes in a contract signing with Drew McIntyre. And they're still replaying where Brock Lesnar is carrying Michael Cole like what Heidenreich was doing to him backstage on SmackDown where he was butt-kicking him with a broomstick while eating a chocolate bar. Do you think I'm gonna miss Corey Graves? Motherfucker, it's Carmella. At least she had to pretend to be sexy for me to care. F.I. Let me really see you frauds. Everybody putting prayers out for Corey Graves, but when Dio Madden got F5 back in 2019, I forgot who that guy was. Racists. Ah. Oh, they really spammed that fast lane aesthetic, or else we'd really get like a racer promotion for Indianapolis, knowing big ties to drag racing events in NASCAR. Like that's massive history, American history in the motorsport for Indianapolis, as well as football. And Carmelo Hayes preparing for his big matchup against Sami Zayn. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, look at Sami Zayn. He's a mid-card champion. Right where he belongs. Challenge against John Cena for the United States champion. You pay homage to changing the brand split limbo so you can get a shot for the U.S. title just to pay homage. Nigga, no, Sammy, because you want the belt. You screw over Karrion Kross to get his push out of the window. I can see why niggas be calling him Sammy Hogan now. If I can coach Daniel Bryan, I can coach Carmelo Hayes to not being a walking boring board. United States Championship is on the line. It'd be a nice segment to have Carmelo Hayes finally get some silverware in his career, knowing how much people really been, liking this guy, liking his matches when he was facing Andrade in that best of seven series. He hasn't been really the most memorable segmented wise, other than getting overshadowed by Trick Williams back on NXT. So I wonder how they're going to do in this U.S. title match, or they're going to at least make him look legit against a guy like Sammy that has a bit more pull and tenure than him. Pushes him off the headlock over the Irish whip. Gets under Sami Zayn with a leapfrog. Catches him off with the overhead into a drop kick. Wonderful. He was on NXT Homecoming. I did not see the Miz in NXT Homecoming. I did see him with Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, though. I know Carmelo Hayes was there, but not the Miz. I did not. I did not hit her, Lisa. I did not. Yo, reframe that, Michael Cole. You can't be saying I like a young Miz as well. You know how sus that sounds? Mac Daddy Jones. This is spongy. I swear to God. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Yo.
What's popping, John?
Remember, it's Mac Daddy Jones, week 2 of his second
oh
week.
Oh, my goodness. He's going to bring us to the Super Bowl.
No.
Come on, just do delusion for 1 week, John. That's all I need. Just delusion for one to mask the stress that I'm on.
Well, we're playing the Cardinals, so we're actually playing a decent team.
Yeah, pretty decent team. Running game looks efficient. Kyler Murray's been throwing the ball pretty decently, so this is going to be actually a tough team to play offensively. Even though Spencer Rattler did give us a bit of trouble around the second half.
Yeah.
You have a fantasy, or it's just your pick'ems you're worried about?
I don't do fantasy.
That's right. Fantasy. Tell him, John.
Yep.
Oh, I love using the B button. It's so fun. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
We do
I
have.
woke up this. Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I was gonna say that I woke up this morning, and I was about to head to work, and then my boss calls me. He's like, "Hey, I forgot to tell you, we don't have to work today." And I'm like, "Ah."
But I need money.
So I was like, "Damn!" So I've been just procrastinating in my house.
Well, I would say take advantage of the time you got. It's always never a bad thing, especially when you get older, to get some rest.
Yeah.
I'm sure you work hard, so it never hurts to get a privilege of rest in your life, John.
Well, it's also warming up in the Bay Area, so like not
Mm,
leaving the house is
you're right.
because it's gonna get worse. Like in the next couple of weeks, we're gonna get those 100-degree days, which I cannot stand.
Oh yikes!
But luckily,
Thankfully,
it
I'm on the West Coast. Like
happens
the
for 1
warmest
week.
I'm gonna get is like 70 degrees. I already had like a decent amount of weather before Sunday.
Yeah. At least I don't live in David Corona's neighborhood. They get 90 degrees regularly.
Oh hell no! I remember when it was 104. It was like 102 on around July. I swear I left some water to boil outside on the car. It was that hot.
Damn.
And I didn't feel that type of heat until like I was a kid. When I felt like my body was burning. And back in the day you didn't have synthetic seats. You didn't have synthetic knit seats. You had leather seats.
Oh, that's
Especially
perfect.
when I had a Toyota. My mom had like a Toyota Corolla. It like hurts.
Yep.
Ugh. Any other games you're looking forward to instead of the Niners, just per se? Because we do have some winless teams.
Let's see. I do not want to watch the Raiders, so they can go to hell.
I don't blame you.
The,
I don't blame you.
the Rams can kick rocks. Besides that, I'll watch any other
Bengals
game.
Vikings might be a decent game.
I do want to watch the Steelers game. We'll see what games. Well, I got NFL Red Zone, so they'll probably show all the games.
It's always better than you don't use what's on YouTube Red YouTube TV. They said you could use that's alternative to YouTube to NFL Red Zone. Like you just swap through game, and it's like ad free.
Let's see. I know the other service is the YouTube NFL TV. What's that thing called? Game Pass, I think. I don't know. What's it called? I forgot. I was telling YTC before YouTube bought it. It was owned by DirecTV, and it was like $50 for the whole season.
Damn, I wish that was still the price. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was $50 for the whole season, and also I had a mentor. He was like a tennis instructor, but he was also like a sports mentor. And he was telling me that because he had DirecTV, he would get 50% off, so he would pay $25 for the whole year.
I think I remember it used to be $37. 50, I think 52. The time when I was on demand was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cable network. when you just got NFL ticket. Yeah, I think it was league ticket or season ticket to get every game on demand before Red Zone because I had like Direct TV at the time. So like that was what my grandparents were using to watch NFL games. Because my mom she hated like paying for additional subscriptions on the cable network.
Yeah,
So my dad
basically,
used that.
yeah, Direct TV was like the number one cable. I mean, not cable. It was a satellite. It was like the number one. Everyone, if you had Direct TV, you had all the game passes for all the leagues.
Mm.
Basically, you would pay like a extra monthly charge. So say they would give you like NBA League Pass, MLB, NFL, and then of course Major League Soccer, which was very young at the time. They gave you all that stuff, and so people would sign up for Direct TV. But then when
Yeah,
Red Zone was created, and then other uh, platforms like it changed.
more monetized, more limited. Now, like NFL, hell, I think the NBA got the shorter end of the stick with their media rights deal, and now they're saying like Adam Silver saying like, we're a highlight sport, so like our medium, if you can't afford it, you could just use YouTube because like they have 4 or 5 different platforms so you can watch Lakers play. Come on.
Yep.
So what's that going to spell for the like local networks? Because even the local networks, you could barely even get certain games out.
Yeah, I remember when I was growing up, it was very different. So basically, they would always show the game in your region. So that was 16 regular season games, no matter what. So say you play like, because I live in the West Coast. Say the
Mhm.
Niners played at the 10 a.m. kickoff or 1 Eastern. After that game, there was a 1:15 game after the 49ers game. That was for the Fox. Fox has always been the 49ers go-to channel. And then CBS would always show the Raiders. The Raiders would play basically all their home games were the 1 o'clock or 4 Eastern. But when they were on the road, they played a lot of like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Ah,
And then say there were a lot of morning games, the Raiders will play, or vice versa. So there was 4 games on. Basically, it was more even out. Like basically, there were more even games for that to work. And so basically, you had 4 football games. And so, say the Raiders weren't playing, they would show an out of market game, usually the Arizona Cardinals or the Seattle Seahawks,
because they're
because
more farther
they were
around the West
close to us.
Coast.
Things like that.
So you could say it's like Pac-12 when it was airing, a bit more
Yep.
farther west.
Yep.
Ah. Oh, did
And
you
then
hear about that movie that came? Sorry to cut you off.
what movie?
That film from Jordan Peele, the the director. He did a hymn with like Marlon. Wait, is it one of the Wayans brothers? Yeah, it's Wayne. It's Marlon Wayne in that hymn movie. It's like based on football.
My bad. My window's open, so a lot of people are riding their cars going home. I've
Oh,
seen
no
the
problem.
trailer. It's like weird.
I guess that was the point, but I can understand. Like, I heard it was disappointing, even though I heard Marlon Wayne acted his ass off. Though I know the narrative of the film. They were trying to make it scary, like injury scares and like peer pressuring you to be the greatest of all time. Like trying to make like if you're trying to be the new Tom Brady and like what are you willing to sacrifice? But I heard like the complaints with the
Mhm.
time with the pacing of the movie.
I remember the movie that he made years ago called Get Out or something.
Oh yeah, that came out years ago.
Yeah, years ago.
That was a great movie.
That was pretty good because when when you're nominated, I think it was not. I don't know if it won, but it was nominated.
Oh yeah.
So it says a lot
And
because
I thought he was just a comedian at that time. I did not know he was an avid. He was very. He like had a theater background that he liked directing films.
yeah,
and like the sink to the floor was like the biggest reference of the year that time it came out.
Well, a lot of comedians and a lot of actors are also writers because you have to know how to write. And so Key and Peele, they started at the Mad TV thing, which I wish it was still around. I think it would be much better than SNL right now. But I think
Anything would be better than SNL right now.
because I think Mad TV is a magazine, and just like every magazine, I think it just went out of business. But the point is that when they got into the show, they wrote a lot of the skits, and so that takes a lot of work to do. So a lot of people don't know this, but there are a lot of people who are in Hollywood who are actors who write and direct because they're not at a level of acting. So basically, just like in sports, failed players either become coaches or commentators
Or
because
wrestlers.
yeah, that's what they do. Same thing with actors.
Like Van Vader was was an NFL player. Goldberg was an NFL player. Brock Lesnar, he failed as an NFL player, but at least he played in the NFL,
Mhm.
even though it was like a preseason game. And shoot, yeah. Hell, some of them fail at being commentary, but they still do it.
Mhm. A lot of Division 2, Division 3, and JUCO basketball players, and they play overseas. It's like the worst of the worst, but at least you're playing. Or if you're desperate, you go to China and make that Chinese money.
Yeah, yeah, you know how much women are in China?
You know, a lot
I
more
mean, how
than
much brand exposure you can get in China? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but I don't mind. I remember when, if you remember, Stephon Marbury, he used to be a New York Knick back in the day. He was like
oh,
one
I
of the top
remember.
scorers on the team. And brother got a statue in China. Like, hey, if you can't be treated like a god in your own country, at least do it somewhere else.
He was drafted with Kevin Garnett with the Timberwolves,
Oh
and
God! Oh shit!
imagine if he would have stayed, but he had an ego problem because like Kevin Garnett actually talked about this after he won his a title with Boston.
The
He
Celtics.
talked about he said what me and him had when we were very young and trying to make it. He was a good, you know, dribbler, distributor, and Kevin Garnett was the guy in the post. It's just that when you're young and you're playing in the market at the time, Minnesota was still very young in their NBA franchise. And so what did a young guy do playing at like markets like that? They bolted and he went to New York. And then you saw the same demeanor that Kevin Garnett talked about. He could be a great player, is that he's just hard headed and he plays for money. And so when he went to China, they paid him so much, but he knew that he was better even at his age than all those Chinese basketball players. So Marbury has always had a reputation of like I'm much better than I am because he was never a level at Kobe Bryant at the time, who was like
Oh
the
hell
big
no!
name.
He wasn't even better than Jason Richardson at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Gilbert Arenas. There's a number of players you could say are better than Stephon Marbury, but they're not going to say it out loud.
I remember when ESPN like photographed him or showed a game where he was just like wearing like sweats on the bench and like I'm not coming in.
Oh hell
I'm
no!
not coming
I remember that was my first Knicks game I watched on TV over that same year, and that same time we had Jamal Crawford. I think that year
in. Yep.
we had Jamal Crawford. We had a young Channing Frye. I think this was his first NBA year because we drafted him, and we were just so piss poor. I think we also the time I was watching the Knicks play, Tracy McGrady was just coming out of his time in Houston. Brother
Yep.
wasn't doing shit with us on the Knicks. He was not. And then
Yeah.
Stephon Marbury coming around complaining about his time and how he wants to be valued. Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
And then that made me nearly hate being an Knicks fan. Because it feels like everybody's too big for their britches when playing basketball. That you should be if you're that level. I understand completely. Brother just chokeslammed him out to the wall. Oh, nah. Oh, and he's going to go right on his cell phone. This is not going to cover insurance with that paper mache wall. Cody Rhodes will have a contract signing tonight with Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Or with the 25th unification of that championship already. He feels like such an afterthought for a guy that's supposed to be the main star on the roster. You hold the championship. But that's like saying that Bud Crawford is going to be the biggest must-see draw in boxing. No offense to Bud Crawford. He did a great fight against Canelo Alvarez. But I do have a lack of respect. I know you watch a bit of boxing, John Jay.
Yep.
You know about Gervonta Tank Davis?
Oh, that's a money grab. That makes that.
Oh yeah, that's an obvious money grab. I lost a bit of respect for him.
That makes no sense at all because Tank, I think, is like 5'5". I think he's 5'5", and
yeah,
at the highest, if he's like if he's not cutting weight, he's basically like a very light welterweight. If you really think about it, like imagine if these people didn't cut weight, they would actually be fighting at the division they're supposed to. But because he is a small dude, he's able to cut weight. Anyway, so you have a guy who is already accomplished, basically a 130-pound champion, a 135-pound champion, a 140-pound champion. So he's won 3 belts in 3 divisions, and he's undefeated for a reason. He should have lost his last fight. That fight has to happen more. I think it's more lucrative. And then you have a guy who technically is a boxing showcaser, where he basically just showcases what he has done in the gym against people who are way past their prime or the wrong combat sport. Jake
I just feel like everybody likes ducking. That's why.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a hater, John, but it just feels why in the boxing industry is so easy to like duck fights, push over for the money fight that would be the most minuscule. It looks like a borderline spar because I know Gervonta ain't gonna knock him out because he's the 3 weight classes below. Why entertain yourself all because of the draw when people know it's like a floozy? Like, bro, like this is why sometimes I can't take boxing seriously. Not because I disrespect the sport, because I know the bullshit that happens.
Well, Tank is basically doing the Mayweather signed him when he was a nobody, and after Tank got big, he got a big ego, and basically Mayweather either let him go or Tank said, "I'm gone." And so now he's doing what Floyd Mayweather is doing, and basically he's just taking fights with whatever's lucrative. The funny thing about it, that there are a lot of lightweight fighters that want to fight him who are good, and there's also fighters at 140 who make a lot of sense that he could fight. But here's the problem.
Yeah.
Jake Paul is basically like a very heavy lightweight and a basically cruiserweight. He will never fight heavyweights because he's going to get hurt. A lot of people forget heavyweights there's a reason why cruiserweight was created, because there are smaller heavyweights who cannot compete with the very big ones. So that's the point. Makes no logical sense. Now, for money wise, and people who want to buy that, both fighters are going to be making a lot of money. But plus, also the promoters also are very influenced on their fighters, so they know the risk, and so by giving them fights that are even out, that they know their fighters are going to win, it's better to do that than like do these super fights. The only reason why Canelo and Crawford happened is that Middle Eastern oil money. Like that I saw the fight on Netflix. I actually paid $8 on Netflix I already canceled it, but they gave me the entire 30 days off. So, plus there's nothing on Netflix. It's like stuff for like high school kids and like young college kids. Not for me, and a lot of international stuff. But the point is like during the fight, they interviewed him. He says, "Boxing, we have the money, then more money than the promoters. We have more influence than a promoter in America. We have political influence around the world. And so if I tell a guy who's a welterweight who moved up for one fight at 154 versus a guy who doesn't have anyone to fight at super middleweight, we can make that happen. That's why
Oh my
Dana White is also promoting boxing because he's also trying to do that UFC stuff. But you want to know what's going to happen? It's going to piss off the traditional old promoters of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s because they still fight. They still promote fights like that because, again, and if you really think about it, like the boxing landscape of like who's the top guard, because Crawford will eventually retire, Canelo will eventually retire. Tank, if you really think about it, not at the level of those guys or even Mayweather. So there's no one right now that is going to pick up that throne.
So he's
And
just
so,
all about maximizing his profits, unless there's like a guy that he considers he can retire against.
now there is a fight that fans probably would watch. Is basically Joshua says he wants to fight 2 more fights and he's done. Um, Tyson Fury is thinking about doing a 1 fight showcase, so they're trying to get the British promoters are trying to get those 2 guys to fight before they call it quits.
Oh my god, that's sad.
But again, there's not a lot of up there. Usyk, who's the unified heavyweight champion, right now the heavyweight is like slim pickings for right now.
Yeah, because there's nobody at the level of Usyk right now. Like, if you consider
Yeah.
yourself, that was supposed to be Tyson, and he's coming out of like 2 fights where he still looked exposed and bloated. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not saying that he can't outclass guys. Hell, people were saying that about Wilder,
Yep.
and yet the people are saying he needs to get rejuvenated. He's got to stop being a fucking one-trick pony. Take a fight that he looks like he can actually, look legitimate on, and then you put him against a guy that he can contend around. Because right now, I don't put him in the conversation. I never rated
Mhm.
Deontay Wilder. I'm sorry. You like haymakers? Go right ahead. It's been proven that guy never had a chin.
Mhm. Yep.
But yeah, it's sad. If that's the case, I'd send every boxing fight to Saudi Arabia.
Yep. Un-
They've already bastardized UFC. They already bastardized WWE. Why not another an actual legit fighting sport?
Yep. Yep. A few notable names is like at the lightweight, Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta
I heard of
Davis.
him.
That could be a super fight at 130. The problem is Shakur is under the top ranked banner, and they don't work with a what's his name, Al Heyman, because he's an advisor. Now I don't know how much he's even in boxing right now because I've not heard that name in a while. I see Boots Ennis has a good record, but who has he really fought? David Benavidez, good fighter, but again, doesn't have that big name. I already talked about Gervonta Davis.
What
Usyk,
about Garcia?
I think at this point, like he's more focused on like social media because apparently he's been acting a little bit kind of goofy, to say the least.
But that's always been his shtick, right? Always pushing over in the crowd. Always
Yeah.
been a media guy. I feel like he's always had that shtick about him. But
Yeah.
you think he's always been figured out? You feel like he still has a good few fights on him.
I see Virgil Ortiz, who's undefeated with a lot of knockouts, hasn't fought anyone like that's who I thought like Crawford would fight at 154 because it made a lot of sense. But yeah, he probably won't take that Ortiz fight. Yep.
It's interesting. And usually, and I still don't know what's like the massive method on shredding that much pounds and still giving that much power out without like flooding every part of your body. That sounds unsafe to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I know some of these guys been trained to manage their weight, and they got trainers for that. So
Like for me, I think Crawford is a heavier middleweight.
oh no, that guy's a heavy. That guy's a lightweight. That guy's a lightweight
Like
fighter.
basically, like he started at 135, won a world title, defended it against top guys at 135 at that time. Moved up to 140, cleaned out the division. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when he went to welterweight, he fought like garbage fighter Joe Horn, who was the welterweight champion, and then he fought like at the time was his best fight was Benavidez' younger brother, who was also undefeated and was also another fighter that was avoided. And that fight went almost the distance, and then Crawford got the late stoppage in the 12th round. Fought a already worn out Amir Khan and Kell Brook. Fought a Sean Porter, who was also like basically those were his 3 fights after that. And then finally got Earl Spence and broke his face. So that kind of said that he was the avoided fighter.
Damn.
Went up to 154, took on some Eastern European Olympian who only had like 9 fights. Took Crawford the distance, but those fighters like those Eastern
As
Europeans,
soon as you said Eastern European, of course he did.
basically like those Eastern European guys, they are more lucrative in the international circuit outside the U.S. They make more money as Olympians and world amateur fighters, and so a lot of them turn pro in their mid to late 20s, and so by the time they enter, they're winning titles before their 10th fight, and so they're technically seasoned guys. So he did take on a former gold medal Olympian, and then went up 14 spots, 14 pounds, and beat. I think Canelo is starting to show his age. I think both those guys like in the peak of their like if they were the same weight, it would have been like Hagler Hearns, like brawl.
You think it would be a given on the amount of battles like Canelo has been in? It's like a shoe in that he'd push over, decline to like a prime age Crawford. That's been proven to be like a legitimate pound for pound fighter.
Mhm. I think it would have been a really good fight. Now it was always a toss up, but
Mm-hmm.
Crawford's 37. He's already past his way past his
Yeah,
prime.
fundamentally yes.
Canelo has been fighting since the age of 15, so he's been technically fighting for
God
20
damn.
years. He should retire because like he's done it all. He cleaned out 154. He cleaned out the middleweight division. He fought Triple G 3 times. All 3 fights were controversial. Moved up to super middleweights.
Second one was my favorite.
Cleaned that division. Beat up a Kovalev who was like already past his prime. After at that time he lost twice to Andre Ward. And so you can say the same thing about Canelo that he has fought big name guys, but I think many of them were already at the peak of their championship, and he was basically just like, I'm the new guy. I'm the new guy. So I think Canelo, because when he fought Floyd Mayweather, he had
Mm-hmm.
like 40 fights already that time, but he was only 23 years of age, and so
Damn.
he didn't grow
And
into
that's
his.
including amateur?
Yep.
Damn.
So, but at the same time, Floyd Mayweather was already past his.
Yeah, he was already way past.
If he fought a prime Floyd Mayweather who was still knocking you out, he would have knocked out Canelo early and frequently in that fight. So again, a lot of great fighters, unfortunately, when they are in their 30s, that's when they start fighting big name guys because they already accomplished those little things. That's why you get very rare super fights because again, right now there's no one established yet. You know,
I don't think is it that like difficult to ever try to establish current boxers, or that means like overexerting certain fighters.
basically, like boxing has always been the turning of the guard. Like one of the reasons De La Hoya became big is like at the time he fought the king, but he was already past his prime. Was Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., who basically cleaned out basically 135, 140, and then 147. He fought a lot of fights up there, and so De La Hoya was he was a fighter who was winning titles, and so again, his promoter, Bob Arum, Top Rank, they set that kid up. So when De La Hoya was already like a 21 fighter, he was already a super featherweight champion, a lightweight champion, and he was already winning titles at 140. By the time he went up to 154, he was already past his weight limit. And he fought like the best fighters at 154 at that time, which were some dangerous Puerto Rican fighters and some dangerous Latin fighters. But then De La Hoya jumped up to middleweight, and basically you were not going to beat Bernard Hopkins. And so that's what boxing is. It's a lot of changing the guard. So when he beat Cesar Chavez, when he went up to Bernard Hopkins was a unified champion at the time, still in his prime. But remember, Hopkins fought until like his late 40s. And so basically in his late 20s, 30s, he was already established himself as a star. But Bernard Hopkins kept destroying Father Time. And so by that time, both those guys were late in their primes, but Bernard Hopkins was a much younger 30-plus-year-old guy who still had a lot in the tank. And so that's how a lot of boxing is. It's just unfortunately, even when you have like a lot of boxers in the same era, they're not fighting each other.
Would you recommend it, or are you just waiting until like it's all about timing, per se?
Well, say you're an 18, 19-year-old boxer and so here in America, say you won the Golden Gloves already a bunch of times already, and there's no amateur at your level. You have two options. If there's an Olympic, year, so a calendar where you train for 1 year, you go to the Olympics, and then you try to face the best amateur fighters around the world. Or if a promoter's like, do you really want to wait a year or two going to the Olympics? Or do you want to start making money right now because we see the potential? And so a lot of boxers jump in for the money. But young boxers have to do what is known as the tune-up. Can you fight professionals? Can you fight at that level? And so usually boxers from their first to 10 fights, you're basically like fighting trash opponents to see if you're better than them. And then once you pass a certain threshold, they say, all right, we're going to give you this guy who's a dangerous fighter, has a lot of losses, but a dangerous fighter to see if you can prove us wrong. And so usually boxers by 24, 25, they start fighting for titles, but then you have to start that resume from 25 to 30. And so you still have to prove yourself.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment. That should be around this, like the same realm they do for UFC.
Yeah. And then you have some fighters who are like undefeated prospects who are really good, but then are like, crap, no, he was overhyped. He was overhyped. And that's why you have a lot of young boxers who are undefeated between 10 and 20 fights, and then they get a reality check.
Oh.
And then those fighters get signed by promoters to use them to develop. That's why you have a lot of boxers who have like 20
winning
fights,
streaks, but they still don't look legit.
who have like 20 fights. They're 10 and 10. Mm-hmm. But they're like, hey, I'm a bona fide loser. And if they're going to pay me like 15 grand to lose, 15 grand is better than like just being a trainer, because a trainer, usually you train a lot of amateur people who they don't go nowhere and you barely make a living.
So it's sort of like a footballer, but a footballer is a bit more grounded. They kind of nurture you, though.
Yep. That's why you always see the same celebrities at boxing events. They are from the streets. Like Mark Wahlberg and his brothers, they may be actors, but they're still those poor Irish kids from, like, I don't know if they're from Boston, but somewhere in Massachusetts.
That's beautiful to see sometimes. You like whenever the celebrities go back to their roots a bit.
So, and also like what's that guy's name? Mickey Rourke, who makes a lot of boxing movies. The guy
Yeah,
does not look like a normal director. You
that
can
guy
tell
looks like he got punched in the jaw a bit.
you can tell that dude is like, hey, I think he runs with the wrong crowd. Yep.
First of all, this mother, I'm gonna chill. He's wearing Air Jordan 1s, black jeans, and a sleeveless leather top like the Warriors movie. Drew McIntyre, at least he looks like a wrestler. At least he looks like a professional wrestler. Sometimes it's so hard. I remember I got flack for saying that. You don't look like a pro wrestler to me. And that's difficult to say to certain people. Because, John, there's certain guys that you look like you don't see them outside of the realm of a guy from work and a guy that looks like he's gonna beat you up, and he has something outside of his head, like a bit out of the norm. And there's certain guys that don't look like that now, and that's the guys that they're putting on TV.
All right, I'm back. I was muted.
This guy's wearing Air Jordans, a sleeveless leather jacket with black jeans, black skinny jeans no less. You're the you Scottish badass. I thought you were part of the Sons of Anarchy for a second, McIntyre. Like, you either look like you're going out on a date, in a blind date, and you just want to show off the sneakers, or you're supposed to be the Scottish dude trying to kick the son of Dusty Rhodes' ass as the current world champion. I'm telling you. Look, and I get heat for this. Vince McMahon, he's a bad guy. Why, he cheated on his wife. He did some stuff with some women. I'd rather him than Triple H. I don't know what Triple H thought. He thought in any era he was a star. That he thinks he can tell people how to run a show.
Mm-hmm.
And now Cody Rhodes is the WWE champion. No, all due respect to Dusty Rhodes. Your son is not the guy. I wish he was, but he's not. But I'm glad he's in this position. I'm happy that he's made something of himself. His wife is beautiful, by the way. Fun fact. Wow! My mother's house. And you know, it's like a misconception, John Jay.
What's a misconception?
They think because you got the belt means you're the guy.
Who's the champion right now?
Cody Rhodes. Who do you think is headlining this pay-per-view that's going to be tomorrow?
I don't know.
John Cena or... Well, John Cena's on the pay-per-view.
Well,
what do you think makes more money? Respectfully, of course.
Well, it doesn't matter about the money. They're going to get the money, but I think because John Cena he's basically retiring. It makes more sense if like he headlines like the remaining pay-per-views for the calendar year. It's dumb because there are a lot of talent. I was watching an interview with Paul Heyman, like a serious podcast where there was like legitimate people, and he was saying this. The reason why wrestling was so great in the 80s and the 90s and a little bit of the early 2000s is because your established guys saw young talent and they boost them up. Like, for example, everybody knows the WrestleMania when Hulk Hogan became Hulk Hogan. Andre the Giant was ill and sick, and he did everything. And he knew that if Hulk Hogan won, you had the face of WWE for a long time. And so what he's saying is that John Cena and all these dudes have already accomplished everything in wrestling, their jobs are to lose for the young guys and every now and then win, so you can have like good storylines and great things as you continue to build off young momentum. And then while those guys are still in their prime, you're seeing the next crop fighting for like tag team titles, United States titles, etc., as they raise their profiles. And so you're basically seeing the turning of the guard, the next generation, and then the generation that will be competing with them. And that's what Paul Heyman says, that it sucks right now that Brock Lesnar has done everything. Why do you need him back? John Cena has done everything. Why do you need to put him up there? Cody Rhodes has also helped establish another company that's trash. But just think about that. He's done it all. He's done it all.
You're right about that part.
And so why are you keeping young talent? So when, what's his name? One of the Uso brothers won the title. Do you really think he's like main headline type of, it's a great story. There's some people who should not be world champion, in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying.
But you're able to like do a transition where he holds the belt until they find someone who deserves it. And that's why you also need like that transitional period. Like when JBL won the title and had it for like 200 something days, they already were starting to prop up John Cena because he won the US title so many times already. Fans loved his like weird, that little gangster persona.
Practically Eminem if he could kick some ass.
But then he became like super like, I love my fans. He became too much good. And wrestling people don't like that. And so that's why you had a disconnect of that. Again, John Cena deserves to be, but he's not like who will carry it. But when you look at the field right now, Triple H was like done. He was like already past his prime. Shawn Michaels past his prime. Ric Flair was almost in his 60s and he was still wrestling. Horrible era for WWE.
The Undertaker was already past, but he was still a bit consistent.
Now he was on SmackDown, so.
Oh yeah. All right, so you're talking solely Monday Night Raw, yeah. And like anybody that he tried to like Batista was like the closest guy around his level, but he wasn't like big before like he became an actor. And that's the craziest thing. And John Cena, I would say over the past 6-7 years, he's tried to get the new faces of the company. Like we've seen this with Roman Reigns. He's done a well done job for himself. He's got a Hall of Fame caliber career, but anybody else that's trying to rub off John Cena's momentum on beating him, like one of the on the Y family beat him at WrestleMania. He's nowhere in the main event, and they have the whole every second cousin from The Rock on SmackDown and Raw now. They have Austin Theory. I do not know where he is. Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble, eliminating the guy, and then now he's back with his brother as a tag team. And I remember when they made Kofi Kingston WWE champion back in 2019. Kofi freaking Kingston. And I don't get me wrong. When I was a kid, I loved Kofi Kingston. He was one of my favorite wrestlers when I was a kid. There's just certain guys that just don't fit the mold to watch on a consistent basis. It's okay to be world champion for a month or two or a week. Hell, I've seen a guy lose it in under 25 minutes after he just won it. It's called Money in the Bank. And yet, there's just certain guys that just get a participation championship. And Drew McIntyre just headbutted Cody Rhodes after signing the contract. And, of course, he's going to flip the table. Nick, we came from Eric Bischoff to now Nick Aldis. This guy looks like a stepdad. No disrespect to anybody that needed a father in their lives and they're just there. He just looks so boring. Oh, he's going to drop kick him? Oh, yeah, because they're former friends, yeah. he got his job back for him. I'm not gonna crease my Jordans against you, Cody. This Saturday, you're mine. Next to the crappy dude, I don't even see kids drink Prime. Nobody drinks Prime. Why is it still promoted? That cough syrup you force feed children to drink. Sports
So
brands can use it.
over the summer, one of the students who I have a lot of huge respect for, very, very wise for a second grader. Well, now he's a third grader now. His parents are like Richie Rich. Again, I work at a Richie Rich school. When the tuition is like almost 30 grand a year for a couple of kids, you have a lot of money to give away. Anyway, at the summertime, the parents would just buy like those like pre-made like processed lunches, and he would get those ones that have Prime. The apparently Jake Paul made like his own Lunchable brand. Anyway,
Oh yeah,
he
that monthlies.
he gave me the Prime Energy drink, but I couldn't drink it because I can get in trouble. So what I told him is I accidentally leave it in the teacher's lounge, and nobody was in there, so I let him walk in, and he left it on the table. When I was leaving, I picked it up and then left, and so it's illegal. We're not supposed to give kids food, and kids cannot give us food. Anyway,
Yeah.
because he did not like the taste. I drank that, and I'm like, dude, I've had Dr. Pepper. Not a fan of Dr. Pepper. That thing was worse than Dr. Pepper
Oh.
because Dr.
And,
Pepper is like a very sweet soda.
and John, I'm not as guilty. I'm bigger. I was bigger when I was like a kid. Like around high school, I put any type of junk in my body except drugs and alcohol. But
Mm-hmm.
like I'm telling you, and I've drunk a lot of crap. I've drunk any flavor of Mountain Dew, those 30-cent drinks back in the corner store in my area. We called them chubbies. They had a bunch of coughs, like a bunch of corn syrup in them, and sugar water. That was all. Any soda, any Code Red. You probably heard of not Mountain Dew. Seven. I swear what it was called. It was like a rip-off Sprite. Well, it wasn't like Sprite, but it was by another company. Seven Up. Seven Up. I had. It was. You could tell that they put syrup with the seltzer water. And let me tell you,
Yes. Yep.
when my little cousin, because I chaperone my little cousins, gave me a drink of Prime, I've never spat out juice before that I didn't like. It was gross. You could tell they say coconut water. It has electrolytes. It's perfectly fine, DST. It's so unconcentrated. It has no benefits, by the way. It has no benefits. Kids don't drink it. Please don't drink it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So we don't have like YT says that we don't have like those New York bodegas, but we do have like a knockoff of it. It's mostly run by Mexicans and Central Americans. Those like they sell like Mexican food products, etc. The only American soda that they sell in those little small mom and pop shops is 7 Up. Because apparently Mexicans do not like Sprite, but they do love 7 Up because it has less sugar, and it's like drinking like a very sugary sparkling water.
Oh yeah,
And
you're right.
as I remember, 7 Up isn't like very sweet. It has like a very like a crisp, like, so Sprite has a very smooth, like, it's kind of weird how I know this. Coke has that syrup taste. Pepsi has the sugar taste. That's how you
Oh
can
yeah.
tell which is which. Sprite has that syrup with that crisp. Seven
Tastes
Up,
better at McDonald's, but it's not.
Seven Up has the crisp, but they use the sugar. That's why it's more like a like like that. Like I said, in Mexico, when they drink soda, they drink real sugar soda. So yeah, Seven Up is like the main one. It's Seven Up, Sunkiss, and then of course like some Mexican brands and like some like knockoff American sodas.
Yeah, and I sometimes I go for the knockoff American sodas. Sometimes they just hit around the same park and it's cheaper, especially like for some of the more like liquidators
Yep,
nearby the area. But
yep,
whatever happens, I would recommend you guys to drink something else.
yeah.
Juices, you can always juice. I heard you can juice a lot of stuff. Juice apples, pineapple. Hell, go for the 0 calorie sodas, guys. It's not as bad as you think. Plus, you can drink as many as you can.
Yeah, but they
Don't make
use that
mistakes yourself.
they use that thing called aspartame, which is like worse than sugar.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Because like, how do you make a soda sweet without any sugar or syrup?
They make a certain concentrated sweetener that doesn't
Yeah,
use like any additional sugars or syrup. That like they push over with different chemicals to add a sweetener and color. So it's like their own concentration. I've seen that done before when they use aspartame for certain juices.
wow, Roku, my TV is advertising ESPN with their discount plus a Roku discount. So it's like $24 a month because I think it's like $30. So it's $5 cheaper. But do I really want to get the ESPN thing?
We
Ah,
still got a few days. You any college games you're watching, by the way, John Jay?
I think there's one game right now on. Let me go check. I think it's a Big 12
Rutgers
match.
versus Oil Miss.
I mean, a
No,
Big 10.
Iowa.
It's so
Tulsa
weird. Like,
versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's been no, yeah, Oklahoma State been terrible. I saw them get destroyed by. What's going on with this program? They're getting destroyed by Tulsa.
Tulsa,
Tulsa's destroying them.
Tulsa isn't that bad. Like every now and then, like they can compete, but they're still part of that group of five.
Yeah, but how many people lose their program? Like John Jay, they lost 20. They only got one big win against Tennessee Martin, an FCS school. Then they play Oregon. That I get it. Oregon's a good program. 69-3. 69-3.
Well, I don't have that game. I have a
Wow. No,
Rutgers
this
and
was this was the first game. The second game of the season. And God damn, man! Like, next they're gonna lose to Baylor. They'll probably lose to Arizona.
remember they decided to go to the SEC.
No, Oklahoma's in the SEC. Oklahoma State. I think they're still Big 12.
No, Oklahoma and Texas are part of the SEC.
Mm.
That's why the Big 12 like brought in like 8 teams in the last 3 years. They brought in University of Central Florida. They brought in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They brought in Houston, who were like the king of the AAC, not to get confused with the ACC. And then they added um, the Arizona schools, and then of course Dion took the money.
They're just going to be another mid-tier school program. You're not even going to be as good as TCU.
Yeah.
That one time you all upset them over opening week,
So
and then Arizona State's going to dominate the division. We know this. We know this.
listen, eventually the Sanders and his son's hype are is going to disappear. Like they're going to
Oh,
get into a reality because
a reality check.
yeah.
Y'all we calling the Sanders dynasty frauds? We're calling them frauds, Sean Jay.
Wow.
We're calling them frauds. It's okay. You can say frauds because I never rated Shador Sanders around the top college quarterbacks.
When Colorado was in the Pac-12, they had one season, I think, in 2015, when they were 10-4. Basically, they finished the season 10-2. At the time, there was a Pac-12 North Division and a Pac-12 South Division championship game. They lost. I don't know to who. And then they lost their bowl game. After that, they basically, in, I think, like 13 seasons, 12 losing seasons.
Jesus.
But then
I don't think
Sanders,
they made a bowl game until like the early 2000s, around that time period.
dude, this is how bad it was. Cal, who is still bad, finished better than Colorado, and we didn't have no one at the time. Okay,
And this is before Marshawn era, right?
you know,
Or right after?
and then last year, I think they were like 8-4 in their first year. And the funny thing about it, the team that finished behind them was Arizona State. It's hilarious.
It's actually pretty funny because people are not rating them this season. You think people are going to rate them in the Big 12? Really?
I don't know.
Huh. Because Houston are mid, but you still got West Virginia. And Kansas State actually has a decent rotation, even though they're starting the season pretty weak.
Yeah, I don't know if they're ranked. I haven't checked the rankings in a while. But
they got BYU next. No, they got Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
They got Wyoming. They got mollywopped by Houston 36-20.
Anyway, so Cal could start off 4-0 for the first time in like
what?
I think the last time they were 4-0 was the 2008 season. It's been a long time for us. Now we are playing San Diego.
Cal.
Yeah. Now we are playing San Diego State, so that should be an easy W. And then I looked at the schedule. I'm like, dude, there's a lot of horrible ACC teams. Are we the SMU of the ACC? Wow.
You want to be the SMU of the ACC? No, wait a minute. Wait a minute, John.
That'll be hilarious.
Think about it. Your undefeated streaks could work. I think anybody would take a playoff spot.
Nah, I don't think
they're still pushing for Alabama.
I don't think we'll
still go over your win-loss.
I don't think we'll finish number one and win the ACC. I do think we're going to have a really, really good year.
So you'll take a good productive season over, still trying to finish around.
I'm tired.
Is a bowl appearance the goal?
So, like, Cal has always been a team that you have to win 6 games because we're not USC. Okay? And so, and of course, everybody wants to go to LA. Like, even before the Rams went there, like, Los Angeles was like Miami. People would rather go to the Hurricanes than play for the Miami Dolphins. So that was the West Coast version of Miami.
So weird to see California in the ACC, though. Wasn't that used to be West Virginia?
Basically, also, if you were a brainiac, but you were a good athlete, and UCLA was the substitution school. So a lot of people from the Bay went to UCLA. I have a lot of friends and a lot of classmates' parents who they went to UCLA.
That's interesting.
Yep.
I'm sorry, John. I'm going to cut off for a second.
The funny thing about it, like the Samoans, who are like, they go to Oregon for some reason.
I think it's because of the atmosphere over in the Nike stuff. That's always the hype over in Oregon because they sell a lot of Air Jordans, and they're more affiliated with, because the origin of Nike comes around Portland, Oregon. So that that connection over Oregon always correlates to the Air Jordans. A lot of Nike gear you can get for free.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take that deal. Yes, they have started 3-0 to start the college football season. They are ACC. Maybe because I'm a bit out of the loop for college football. The realignments got me fucked up. Georgia Tech, North Carolina State, Stanford. How many Pac-12 schools? Wait, hold on. Wake Forest College, Boston College, Clemson, California, Florida State, Louisville, Miami, North Carolina, NC State, and fucking US and SMU. John Jay, I'm sorry. Now I feel old.
Yep. Like I do think in 2026, 2027 college football year, the ACC has to restructure their deal with ESPN, because the ESPN deal that they did was a 20-year deal, but there was also like a 7-8 year window where the ACC renegotiates. Now, I don't think the ACC is going to like collapse like the Pac-12, but I do think that there's going to be like the best teams where it'll be like, dude, we play in this trash ass East Coast conference, and the best Big 12 schools decided to go to the SEC, and so Clemson, Florida State, and Miami are big brands, and because they're located geographically in the South, it makes a lot of sense for them to go there.
To the SEC,
Yeah.
especially to build those rivalries you can do with Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida, of course. The Gators and SMU is always a big seller.
So, what I do think is going to happen is that Notre Dame, who is independent, and they've been independent for a very, very long time, they're like, all our other sports play with the ACC, and so I got a feeling that they are probably going to piss off the ACC and say, we're going to join the Big Ten because lucratively it makes a lot of sense for them. They have a power brand in college football, and so playing with Ohio State, Michigan, those brands, even Wisconsin, which is pretty good, and you're able to still have that rivalry with USC. The ACC is probably going to gobble up the top schools from the AAC, which will force eventually the Pac-12. Which will force Cal and Stanford to like, you know what? Let's put our other sports in the West Coast with this weird Pac-12, because it's going to take its toll on these kids, even though that they're going to be paid. And I do think the Big Ten will re-invite Cal and Stanford. So the ACC is going to have the same problem with the Pac-12. They're going to lose a lot of big member schools, but the difference is that they're going to get a lot of like these little schools from these like tiny conferences to make the difference.
So are you supporting more of a succession, or you would like to be more geographically aligned involving the conference? Because it seems like it's an arms race for like media rights for a lot of these programs.
Well, right now, Fox, NBC, CBS, and of course Disney have paid a lot of money. The total has been about $8 billion for the next decade. So by 2030, this is probably what's going to happen. The Pac-12 and the ACC will, because this new Pac-12 isn't relevant until they actually have schools. Nobody wants to go there. Okay. So the Pac-12, in my mind, geographically, will say, you know what? Do the regionality. We have the Colorado school, we have the Utah school, and then we have the Arizona schools. They are basically going to take the best schools from the Mountain West with the leftovers and have those competitions with the Big 12. And the ACC will also figure it out that their best programs are going to be gone. And so you're going to have the two major conference, which is the SEC and the Big 12. And then you're going to have basically a super conference with three former conferences. And they're going to basically make 3-tier divisions, which basically will help the top schools in those conferences be able to compete with the SEC Big 12. And then you have the other schools that will have scheduling agreements that will help them out, because a lot of schools are basically doesn't realize we have the money, we have conferences, and we can make schedules. And I think that's what's going to happen, because do you really think that every school in each conferences are going to be conference champions and even qualify for this new playoff system? Of
Not
course
really.
not.
I see what you're going with this. Has that? It's still gonna bring questions over how this is gonna levy up like a lot of like NAL programs for like certain schools because
Plus,
there's still
also
the
the
big schools with the advantage.
plus also UCLA has already made it a big problem. He says we in a 14-day period had to go all the way to New York. We had to fly to Nebraska, and then we had to fly back to New York, and then finally play a game up north against Washington, and then finally come down. So in a basketball season, they played 4 games in geographical areas that was in the east, middle, up in the Pacific North, and then finally back home. It's going to be a very horrible travel for these students. They still have to go to class the next Monday morning. And so geographically, I think the Big 12 will be that super conference to make it more easier. So basically, the Big 12 brand will be like just like the NFL. Then you can have like the Pac Pacific, the Pac 12, Big 12 brand, the middle, Central brand, and then the ACC brand. But it'll be under just like the NFL.
Because the NFL tried to do that before with the NFL Europe thing, and they
Yeah.
tried to levy out like because I think the UFL they tried doing that with the UFL, and nobody and that doesn't push enough eyes over on the screen for a spring ball. So you're better off still trying to levy out super conferences in the collegiate level,
Mm-hmm.
give more advantage.
I know because like eventually, and again, the NCAA did this to themselves because in 1979 there's actually a Supreme Court ruling on this, and it's like people have talked about it when it comes to college realignment. Teams used to get like individual television rights, so nationally people can watch their games nationally. It really pissed off the NCAA, and the NCAA said, no, you can only leverage your local regional markets because who in someone, for example, in the state of Maine, why would they be invested in USC or say um, Alabama? Who,
Alabama.
who
Why
would
would I
be
watch an Oregon game?
who would be invested in like the Pacific Northwest? Because that's what the NCAA said. Who will be invested?
Why
So
why am I watching Wyoming play football? Why?
so the point of the matter is that college football was an extension of your community. But then with the ruling, basically it says all teams are able to uh, get like 1 game nationally for their school. And so conferences will say, hey, hold on, USC, and then they can show like 1 team a week nationally, and then the other conferences started to do the same. And so at the time in the 80s, people would see like USC, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, and like the big brand schools. And of course, Notre Dame was the only school because they were independent. They signed a deal with NBC. And so NBC always showed Notre Dame games. And so other schools started to realize, so the conferences started to realize, hey, let's show the best teams. And then over time in the 90s and early 2000s, the media rights still started to become a big thing. But then it was Nick Saban who entered the fold, and then people wanted to watch Nick Saban in Alabama. And so ESPN and all the other networks started to realize, hey, so that's why in every Saturday you get like 5 broadcast television games on your TV, but then there's like over 100 other games in other medias.
Hmm.
So
that would fickle a couple of things, especially with streaming services, but you're still trying to correlate that with the local media to get the money on. There's still complexity going around in the NBA too. Even professional leagues are still trying to trickle that down.
true.
Only got like a few minutes left. Anything you'll have plans for around the weekend, John Jay?
Yeah, see, I gotta get my hair cut. My hair is like, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. But besides all of that, probably just watching college football.
Yeah,
Anyway,
probably watching a bit of college football. Wrestlepaloozas this Saturday night. Probably YTC will be streaming, so I'll probably hang out there, work out a bit, try to burn off some of this pizza.
Yeah.
And practically, I'd probably do some sports in the meantime.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on, man.
No problem. Appreciate having you on. All right, guys. I'm going to close it off here. Thanks for watching. This was a DST show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That's it for me. Have a great weekend. That's it for me. Cut out this.